You may be seated. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, families, friends, mga kababayans. Welcome to the second annual World War II Philippines Conference. My name is Ray Cordoba, and I am the MC for today, as long as my voice holds out. And I've got a lot of backups over here. So I'm a retired educator with the San Francisco Unified School District, having served as a counselor and dean to schools in Daly City, as well as San Francisco. But before my educational career, I served honorably with the U.S. Army for 4 years and did a tour in Vietnam. After graduating from San Francisco State University and Officer Candidate School at Fort Benning School for Boys, Georgia. You know, my inspiration for being here, as for all of you, I'm sure, is because of your relatives and mine. My father was a Philippine scout assigned to the 92nd Coast Artillery Group at Fort Mills, Corregidor. He became a POW when Corregidor surrendered, and upon release, continued to serve with the U.S. Army in Korea and eventually retiring at Fort Ord. I want to remind you all that today we're celebrating the Philippine American History Month, locally and nationally. And in that vein, we want to not only celebrate, but to inform you and educate you of the sacrifices, in many cases, the ultimate sacrifices by our Filipino and American heroes who have brought us here today. There will be much information given out by distinguished guests, veterans, and their descendants, so you're in for a full day of historical significance that will begin in the state of California and disseminated to all the states as well as the Philippines. We're going to start with the welcome remarks of our Philippine Consul General Henry Bensurto. But before his remarks, let me give you a little bit of background of Consul General. Consul General Bensurto assumed his post as a Philippine Consul General of San Francisco in June 2014. Consul General Bensurto is a career diplomat and a respected member of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, and was part of the Philippine team that won the arbitration case against China on the West Philippine Sea at the International Tribunal, The Hague. Immediately prior to current post, Consul General Bensurto served as the Assistant Secretary of the West Philippine Sea Center in the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs and the Secretary General of the Commission on Maritime and Ocean Affairs Secretariat. He has degrees in political science as well as in law from the University of the Philippines and pursued further studies at Oxford University. Today, let's welcome Consul General Henry S. Bensurto. Give him a hand.
Hi, good morning. Mabuhay po kayo. I'm Henry Bensurto Jr. for the first time. Those who I'm meeting for the first time, I'm Henry Bensurto, and I'm the Philippine Consul General here in San Francisco and 9 other states, including Seattle and Tacoma, some of whom we have here today. Ms. Cecilia Garlan and Ms. Connie McHugh of the Bataan Legacy Historical Society, Lieutenant General Edward Soriano, Major General Eldon Regua, Professor Bernard Carganilla, who's a friend of mine from the University of the Philippines and chairman of the Social Science Department. Our distinguished panel of speakers, Mr. Ray Cordova, our Filipino-American war veterans and their families, friends, guests, good morning again. We are now celebrating the last few days of October. We're there in the finish line. And the last few days of the Philippine American History Month. Just a few more days and we're done with this, but it's really not the end, but a beginning for next year's much more intense celebration of the Filipino-American History Month. Before the festivities officially end, allow me to greet you all a happy Filipino-American History Month. The past 30 days have been indeed very busy. Just last night, Mayor Lee gave a reception to the entire Filipino community of the San Francisco Bay Area that indeed shows how much this city has welcomed Filipinos, and we're very grateful for that. And in those many activities of the month of October, the Bataan Legacy Historical Society and Memorare Manila should be proud to be one of those organizations who extend tremendous effort in reaching out to Filipinos and Americans alike and serving as a platform that bridges the gap in the multicultural San Francisco and the Bay Area. In those celebrations for the past 30 days, the Bataan Legacy and the Memorare Manila has been at the front and center. I could not imagine a Filipino-American History Month without remembering, without recognizing that brave generation of Filipino Americans. And may I ask you to once again applaud them. Last year, we commemorated the 70th anniversary of World War II, a necessary exercise that reminds us of the heroism of Filipino and American soldiers fighting side by side for liberty and democracy. It gives the community an opportunity to thank the thousands of faceless war veterans who put their lives on the line for us 7 decades ago. Through their courage and valor, we are free to pursue our lives and chart a course that we ourselves are able to determine. It was not the case during those times. We live the way that we do because of the price, a high price at that they had to pay during World War II. In this increasingly strained world that we presently face, having that freedom is something that we need to cherish and respectfully ascribe to those who sacrifice much for the benefit of many. Let me jump off from there to another point to inform you that the Philippine Consulate General supports the coalition that is pushing for the implementation of the World War II in the Philippines in the history curriculum framework of California. It took years of lobbying for Cecilia Garland, for Connie, and for the rest of the Bataan Legacy and other organizations to make sure that the California history curriculum factually represent World War II in California high school history books. But finally, on July 14th of this year, the California Board of Education approved the revisions recommended by the group. But the work does not end there. We now need to make sure that teachers across California are able to teach the curriculum and bring greater awareness of the pivotal role of the Philippines and its soldiers during World War II. It is also very important that back in the Philippines, we're also able to reflect this. And I'm very grateful that we now have academics from the other side of the Pacific Ocean, led by Bernard Carganilla, to make sure that that part of our history is also taught in the Philippines. And not only taught, but the spirit and the advocacy we should be able to inflame. We need not look for inspiration that this can be done. Like the Manongs and the Manangs of Delano, who demanded for better pay and working conditions from the grape growers. We can remember their work together with the veterans. And by doing so, we are able to honor the loving acts of sacrifice that our war veterans made. It is the least we can do to make sure that we teach not just the Filipino-American youth, but high school students across California, and for that matter, the entire nation, as to the intertwined, very intimate history that we have in terms of the Philippines and the United States. Let me therefore take this opportunity to personally thank, on behalf of my family and my 14-year-old son, who I would like to learn much about your sacrifice. The war veterans, the war survivors, and especially also their families, for carrying us through those difficult times. We will never forget, and we will never tire in expressing our thankfulness to you. Therefore, from the words of my local dialect, maraming salamat po sa inyong sakripisyo. Mabuhay po kayo, mabuhay ang Pilipinas, mabuhay ang Amerika, mabuhay ang mga veterano. I'm a Filipino. I'm proud to be a Filipino. Thank you.